This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 120 of Banging on the Drum. The Saints go marching into their impending doom. Mike's great title name, but as always, please remember to like, subscribe, download, share, do whatever you can to help us out, and we really appreciate that. I'm your host P Dog, joined alongside our other host M Dog. And M Dog, how you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How things been going for you?
They were going great, but now I'm having some technical difficulties with the Zoom stuff. It shouldn't affect any of the quality of the recording, but I can only see you. So when I raise up my sweet Sundrop can, I can't see if I'm actually showing it right with Dale Earnhardt's number, but Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s signature. So I think I got something rare here. I don't know what's going on, but Sundrop's doing it up big. But I'm doing great. Just got rid of a hangnail. That's what I got
J-
going on in my
just
life.
got rid of the hang like it's completely cured, or you
It's a
just chopped it off?
it's a little bloody. I bit it out. It was dug in there. Um, but yeah, I'm feeling a lot better because that thing was bugging me all day long. I could not believe the pain that a little hangnail like that can bring uh
Oh yeah,
to
for
your life
sure.
day in and day out. Like just reaching in my pocket, it would hook on something. It's a little bloody right now, but I think by tomorrow I'll be 100%. So I'll be ready to play.
100%. Holy cow, man! I
I'll
don't know.
I'll be
I
ready to
do know.
play come this
I do.
weekend.
AJ Hawk says upper body injuries don't stop you from playing football.
Yeah, no, I would have played with it probably. So I think we would have
You would
been
have been
good.
questionable, huh? Or
Yeah,
maybe
so
would you have been probable or questionable? I don't know if probable is still like an injury designation anymore, but
no, I don't think probable is, but I would have been questionable. Probably would have been limited in practice this week. Like I think our boy Christian Watson was, but that was actually a good sign looking at the injury report. If we're getting to the sports early, yeah, Christian Watson looks like he was limited in practice. So I think that's a better sign than not practicing at all today.
all right, so I want to talk to you. If we're going to talk about injuries, I guess right off the jump, I want to get into this Bakhtiari thing. Um,
Let's do it.
and I just, so like, I'm a little bit under the impression that it was the turf. I don't think it has anything to do with his knee. It was
Yeah,
the turf, and maybe he's not comfortable on turf playing. Like, he did re injure himself in Detroit that first year when he came back.
yeah,
And so I think he's uncomfortable on turf. But if it was like he had swelling in his knee and like couldn't go that day, why weren't they telling people that? Like as soon as they ruled him out, they should have just said he has swelling in his knee. We're gonna limit him due to the fact that we'd like to see him around all year round, right? And that, so I think that it was all bullshit. And then they're like, oh, this isn't good. We can't just say that he's not going to be playing in games that are on turf or on,
yeah,
yeah, turf, right? So
yeah. I kind of have the idea that you're right. It was about the turf, and I almost think, and this is just me speculating and listening to the like chopped, probably out of context interview. It said he had a 20
right.
minute interview. I seen a minute of it, maybe 2 minutes of it. Um, but if he went to his agent, or if his agent seen what was going to happen and he was going to say, I'm not going to play on turf, that's going to hurt his career, whether he wants to stay in Green Bay or not, or if he's scared to play on turf. But he came out and said it had nothing to do with the turf. He said his brother said something and he just told his brother, yeah, go for it. I don't care. It's your, it's your life, man. Like if you want to stir up some shit, stir up some shit. But yeah, it seemed like backtracky almost.
Yep.
Uh, And then on top of it, it does seem like he's kind of taking an Aaron Rodgers role. And I didn't say that. No one came to me and talked to me about that. Like, you guys are making up a story, kind of just going toe to toe with the media, kind of
And so I don't,
taking that role.
and like, I don't think that we're saying that he's making stories up. I'm saying that, like, the team would have said, right, like, this is the issue because it solves so many problems to just be upfront about it. As soon as you're ruling him out anyway, if you say that he has, like, his knee is flaring up and we don't want to, like, risk long term injury here, like, that's so easy for the team to come out and, like, tell Schefter or whoever, you know what I mean? To, like,
Yeah,
just squash everything at the beginning of it instead of waiting till the end. That doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah. No,
Let
those
it
are
go
good.
through the whole game with people bitching and complaining about it, like going crazy. What's going on? He just hates turf. Where he had been doing that all week, talking about how the turf was bad for football. And then when he had to play on turf, sits out, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
no,
his knee could have been swollen up, and like, we could have real problems with his knee that is going to last all year long. But I think it'll be telling if this is the only game he sits out, or if the next game he sits out is like a non divisional opponent that's on turf. Because I think that's what it's going to be. It'll be when we play non divisional opponents on turf. That's when you're going to see whether or not he's willing to play on turf. Because I think the Lions and the Vikings, who both, I believe, have turf fields,
yeah,
will, like, he kind of, if he's even close to being able to play, kind of has to play those games.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if he sits out one of those, I think it's a big thing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it seemed like he was going to be the guy that took on the front charge of the uh, we want grass
Grass.
fields or whatever.
Yep.
And I think someone up there was like, "Hey, dude, if you're going to do this, be prepared for this because whatever 50% of the fields in the NFL, if not more, are probably turf right now." I can't even
Right.
because yeah, so the NFC North is definitely 50-50. So Soldier Fields, grass, shitty grass usually too. So
Yep.
uh and then obviously
The Lions,
Lambeau.
Lions for sure are turf, and then I think the Vikings are, but I'm not positive.
I mean, they're in a dome, so I assume anybody in a dome's turf, unless there's another playing surface that I'm not aware of that
Well, like, so Vegas and Phoenix
Arizona.
walk their
Yeah.
stuff out, right, to get sun and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, you could be right, but I'm pretty sure the Vikings are turf as well. But hopefully that just goes away. But yeah, you're right because if it was just like a simple injury, I guess not simple, but like if it was just the injury that was the case, you would just come out and say it. And like you said, give it to the chef, and then yeah, no questions asked. He's got a bad knee. He's not going to play in this game. But it has
Right.
just been a crazy ride with him. And we've talked about it on the show before, where he's the best player on the field one week, he's out the next week. He's the best player on the field again the next week. He's out the next week. So
Right.
it's just like wild card of how that knee is feeling.
I
But
wonder if going back to last year, if you looked at whether he played on turf or whether he played on grass, like how that would kind of, if that would be telling, right? Because he played most of the year last year.
it could be telling. No, I mean last year it was pretty hit or miss. I'm probably not going to be able to pull it up real quick, but it would be an interesting thing to go back and look at if those were the games he was sitting out was all the turf games and he was playing all the grass games, but who knows? And I'm
Yeah.
sure if you have an injury like the MCL in your knee, like it's probably pretty sensitive to whatever, and you really could feel it whether you're cutting on grass or that. So, but yeah,
Yeah. So I'm not blaming him for, like, having, like, I don't like the um like things coming out late, and I don't like the optics of what happened. But I don't blame him for like feeling concern over whether his knee will go or not. I just would hope, I wish that that was no longer his mental attitude. I just know that that's not as easy to overcome as like, oh, like my knee is fine because they tell me it's fine. Like morons kind of think that, like if you're not like actively thinking for yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we start I mean, we started with the injury report, but do you want to get into overs and unders? Your worst thing that happened to you this week and your best thing that happened to you this week?
So I think I talked about like having to run this program planning thing and that I don't really concern myself with like things until they're in the moment, you know?
Yep.
Um, well, I'm much more concerned. I was much more concerned about it on Tuesday morning than I anticipated being. Right. So that's when my event actually kind of started, and it runs all week. And like Tuesday, I was like, oh shit, everything's gonna fail. And then everything was fine, like it normally is. But I was nervous about it, and that made me feel bad about myself. So that
Yeah,
kind of is what it is.
yeah. And we were talking about that on the show, and I've been getting better with that stuff. But yeah, I don't tend to worry about, like, I don't get nervous about things until it is right there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like we're moving up to Kentucky for a while, and it'll be like the week of. That's when I'm like, oh shit, we're actually like moving our all of our animals and all this stuff up to Kentucky. And like these past few weeks, I've just been chilling, getting things ready at my own pace. But it probably would be nice to be the person that's stressed out right away and gets everything done and they can relax. That's my wife. And
Yeah. Yep.
then you just got me that's on the verge of having like an existential crisis about like how much shit that I have to do. And then all of a sudden it hits me in a wave and then I get anxiety. But yeah, I'm working on it. You should work on it too, Mike, if Tuesday gave you anxiety.
Well, so I didn't pre-plan. So we had 37 patients that were going to be doing a Yahtzee tournament. That's what it was. It was just a pretty simple activity, right? But I
Oh,
didn't
that's
have enough
funny.
rooms reserved, right? So like to put 37 patients into 3 rooms would be pretty substantial. 12 or 13 guys in a room. And so I had to get like 3 more rooms, which made me a little bit nervous. Then I didn't think I had enough people to make sure there was one in each room, but everything worked out fine.
Look at you, just figuring out shit on the fly. Too cool, Mike. You're too cool for school.
It was all handled. It just wasn't handled super well, right? And then my coworkers get a little uppity about like how I run my ship. So is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and then for good stuff, like I got a conference I'm going to be going to this week. I'm pretty excited about like learning that stuff in at like a real level. It's the crisis negotiation team stuff. And so this will be my 40-hour basic, which will actually like allow me to be at a like a actual crisis thing. Now I don't know how that'll ever happen in the current job that I have, but it'll allow me to, like, if we would get called out as a team, I could actually do the job. I could be the actual negotiator. Probably wouldn't do that. They put somebody else in, but that'd be my assumption that and I'd just be a guy that like runs slips or something like that. But
Yeah, handing them like oh, his daughter is this,
yeah,
so say something about seeing his daughter. It's still cool shit, but you never know, man. Shit can hit the fan. Waco, Texas could happen in Boston, Wisconsin, and you'll
I mean
be you'll be on it.
it probably could. There's probably people that have like compounds or whatever in the local area that I just have no idea they exist.
Yeah, there's some like religious cult going on in Boston,
Probably.
and yeah,
You never know.
Wilton, probably Wilton. Those Wiltonians are a squirrely bunch out there.
A squirrely bunch. Yep. I think I would know about that in Wilton. Maybe not though.
You were
Um,
the prom king, so yeah, I think they would keep you in on the loop of that. Like you're basically still the
they'd
king of the
be
town.
So I do make jokes frequently with my kids that they're the prince and princesses of Brookwood because I was the king of Brookwood, and so the- and so like I make jokes about that all the time. I hold on to that way more than I should at a man of 37 years old. I can tell you that much. Like it
Uh,
comes up in my daily life way too often.
I wonder if our prom kings and queens from Sparta still think about it. I don't know. I think if I won, I would probably be pretty proud of it and
I
reference it more than I should. I
so
like to
like
think I'm humble, but I'm not that humble when something actually cool happens to me. Like if I did cool
yeah.
shit,
Right.
I'd probably talk about it all the time. I just never do cool shit. Like
Uh,
that's what
yeah.
I
So
got going for me.
so we're talking about it now. We're talking about it today. I talked about it on. I don't remember if it was Saturday. It must have been Saturday. I think we were up at my in-laws, and like so they're going to their first homecoming or whatever. Like my nieces and nephews. He's a sophomore, and then my niece is a freshman, I think. And he was saying something to his dad, who is a prom king as well, and so I just like I don't remember exactly what he said, but I piped in like we don't fuck around, right? Like that his dad and myself were both,
Yeah,
prom kings. Like you need to step up. Like you're
you
failing
got
it.
royalty in your blood right there. I'm just a fucking peasant hanging out with
Yep.
the king of
Yep.
fucking Brookwood. Damn.
Yep. I'm the king, man. It's like it is what it is. So um yeah, so it comes up in my like everyday life way more than it really should.
Well, especially when you got kids starting to hit that age and stuff. Because yeah,
Well,
my nephew had his first homecoming, and I was like, damn, man, you were going to homecoming. I was going to drink beers with the boys, like down in a basement and play Madden all night. So
yeah,
he's much
I
cooler.
don't I don't know if you missed out, Pat. Honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't get overly concerned about that. I did have a good time drinking beers and playing video games, so good to go.
All
I
right.
don't
And then
recommend
so
it though.
yeah, for all you kids out there listening,
Yeah. Don't
just
do it. Don't do it.
you could probably wait to drink beer. I would
Mhm.
say you should, and it's definitely possible. I know.
Yeah, Mike did it.
I've seen someone do it.
Yeah. The golden boy, the
Just
king
me.
of the king
And
of
you can be
Brookfield.
relatively popular and not drink.
You can be a king and
You
do
can be
it.
the king. You can be a double king. See? Because see, I
Yeah.
can't like somebody calls me just the king. I can't even like just let it go at that. I gotta
Yeah,
let it
you got
go. Won it twice.
the only thing though is like I think I'd rather just be a singular king than a double king, because unless you won the triple crown and you didn't do that shit. So,
I did not. You're right. I did not. The
so
foreign exchange student won the other one. Fucking very disappointing.
where was he from?
Venezuela, I believe.
Oh, that Venezuelan son of a bitch.
Juan
You,
Carlos.
Juan Carlos. I wonder how he's doing these days.
No idea. No idea. I started hating him after he went. No, I'm just kidding.
Took your
Uh,
crown.
all right. So my other over is that probably for the first time in a while, my fantasy football teams are actually fucking crushing it. Very
Nah,
excited about it. I'm
that
only
is
2 weeks in, but
definitely a good feeling though, because yeah, I'm 0-2, and I don't remember the last time I started a fantasy football season and not 0-2. So that's how my fantasy world goes.
yeah, I'm in like a 16 team league, and that one I've won both my games, and I would have like the second highest point total. So I'm pretty excited going in the first couple weeks.
How many leagues are you in?
3.
Oh, child's play, child's play. We need to get we still need to get Jared
Yeah,
on there. I don't know if he listens anymore, but 25 leagues.
I
That's
can't. So I don't know how we'd have time to listen, right?
yeah.
Like if he's got
Uh,
you got to be managing 25 leagues.
no, he's probably on his computer right now, adding and dropping players from all of his leagues. So
Yeah. All right. How did your week go?
oh, it was eventful. So it was good for the most part, but I will start out with my under here. And I think this is never not going to be my under when it's a shooting day at the range for drill. So I drilled this weekend and we had to qualify with our M9 and our M4. Start with the M9, no problem. Pretty easy process. Basically, point, shoot, hit the target. I don't know, every time, and you're good to go. In some capacity, there's little circles like where you can get expert. I've even got expert before. Did not this last time, but then we get to the M4, and I'm already telling myself in our head we have a M60 on top of it, which is a laser dot scope thing. And I was like, I'm not even going to shoot with the iron sights today. I'm just going to keep that on and learn how to shoot with my iron sights up, but keep the dot on because I don't think they would get that particular with you. And they didn't even make us take the dot off. So my plan was like their plan already. And I still fucking failed. I think I was one of two people to not qualify in the first round of shooting. And then it was me and one other person out there doing the second round of shooting. And then we got to the point where she qualified and like they were like all looking at each other like, I don't know what's wrong with this kid. And I was like, I told you motherfuckers before we went in there, I suck at shooting this gun. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, if my eyes are just really bad, like, I swear to you, like, I'm decent at like things that come to consistency, like throwing darts. Like, if I have to be consistent, like bowling, like, I can be fairly consistent shooting like baskets and stuff, fairly consistent. Like, I don't know what it is about shooting. I cannot stay consistent enough to do this. And then I had 6 final shots and I needed to hit 5 of the 6. They didn't tell me this. I think I just picked it up from the context of like what was going on. And I hit 5 of 6. So that was kind of thrilling. When I
You
needed
killed it.
when I needed 5 of 6 and the pressure was on, I got it. And I think I figured something out, but I only do it once a year. So I'm sure I'll forget before the next time. So maybe I need to set a reminder in my phone to re listen to this, and then it will trigger the memory that I need to do this certain thing. Um, but yeah, it's kind of discouraging when you're like the last one out there shooting. Everybody's just
Yep.
like chilling and stuff. And honestly, it didn't bug me as much as I thought it would, because they did have like a pretty good process of like making it not look too bad. I don't know how to like explain it. Like other people were like back chilling and stuff. And they're like, hey, we just need to talk to you real quick. And they're like, you really suck at shooting. So like we're gonna teach you something. And then I just told them, everybody, that I was shooting too good, and they were just wondering how I shot the center of every single target every single time. So yeah, looked good. But yeah, that was my under. And yeah, my eyes to be included in my under. My night blindness is getting bad. So I think that has something to do. I need to get LASIK surgery or some shit. Like,
So when you say your night blindness is getting, what does that mean?
so like, you know how old people say they don't like to drive at night because they can't see shit?
Yep.
So like in areas that I'm not familiar with, like I need to really be paying attention to like where I need to turn and things of that nature. So like, and then like if lights shine behind me and stuff, like I can't see shit. And I don't know, it's bad. Like these glasses are pretty expensive and they used to cut the glare more. And I don't know if something wore on them where it doesn't. But yeah, my mortality is coming into play. And then there was one round I went out to like shoot, and I always take my left ear protector out because I'm talking to somebody when I'm not shooting. And I forgot to put it in, and it was so fucking loud. And I was like, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more deaf after this than I should be. So like 8 years ago when I was doing this, I like wouldn't even gave a shit. Like I would have just went up there and shot without ear
Yeah.
protection and not cared. But yeah,
So
just
you're
shit like
thinking
that.
about the long term ramifications of this shit now.
Yep, yep. And my eyes are going to shit. But that does sound all negative. But for the positive, the over of the week. So it was my first drill in probably 4 months because I was on orders somewhere else where I didn't have to go to drill. So it was nice to get back with the team, got the gang back together, met some new people in my unit. Everybody was super cool. And then I was talking about last show, we did this like hot wing challenge or the hot ones challenge and rolled through every sauce from the YouTube show, the hot ones. And surprisingly, everybody made it through, but it was like, it was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. Like, I thought it was just going to be kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't say lame. Like, I didn't think it was going to be lame, but I didn't think it would be as like funny and shit as it was. And it was pretty
Yeah.
funny. But an under that goes with that, like the toilets at the unit the next day, like that thing was no joke. Like people were blowing those toilets up and it was disgusting. Um, yeah. And then the last over I got a new golf buddy and got a free TV. So you can't get much
From
better
the
than
new
that.
golf buddy?
I did. It was actually from him. Um, yeah, we got like a 60-inch TV for free. And it's like so much nicer than all of our other TVs. Like, I don't know why they gave it
Is he
away.
like is he like leaving someplace? Like
No, but they are like, so it's actually my wife's friend from her gym husband. Um, but I mean, we got it from her friends, technically. And when I was over there grabbing it, because I got the TV like last week sometime before I went to drill, and I was talking to the guy we were getting the TV from, and he seemed super cool. And I was seeing his golf clubs like and then we started talking about golf, and he was like, "Oh yeah, if you ever want to get out," he's like, "I don't have too many people to golf with." And then sure as shit, I text him yesterday. Yeah, I text him yesterday, and then like the next thing I know, he calls me and he's like, "What time?" And like he was
he was
about
like
it.
pumped
Yeah,
for it. Yeah,
yeah, he
nice.
was about it. So I was like, "Fuck yeah, we got a guy to golf with now." So that's I got things are turning up pretty nice for the old P dog. It's been a good week. Good times back in Tallahassee. So been enjoying my time. You ready for the business, Mike? You ready? You want the
Straight business,
beans?
homie.
You want the beans?
Yep.
Raw dog, sandpaper finish.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right, let's go for it. So we're gonna roll out the barrel here to start it off. So the Brewers are 6-4 in their last 10 games. They actually did just win. This always fucks me up. I'm gonna read it like this game tonight didn't happen. So 6-4 in their last 10 games with a 6-game lead over the Cubs and 11 games to go. Magic number is 6 for the NL Central and 5 for the wild card spot. So cut one off. So 5-4, 5 for the NL Central, 4 for the wild card spot. As it stands right now, it looks like we would be playing the Cubs in the NL wild card round, which I've just finally figured out, man. This baseball playoff system has been breaking my brain all year. So we're going to be the 3 seed in the wild card round, and we will play the 6 seed. Because I remember you saying something like, it doesn't make any
Okay.
sense why we would play the best team. You were right. So we play the worst wild card team. And then
Okay.
if we win, we go against the second best team. So it looks like we would play the Cubs first. If we beat the Cubs, we would go on to the Dodgers. If we beat the Dodgers, whoever beats wins between the Braves and whoever else they're playing. But sure as shit seems like it's going to be the Braves. And I kind of like the route though that we're going. Um, if we get into it, like the Brewers have been playing really good baseball over, I don't know, probably shit. The last month of the season, like everything seems to be coming along. But since we haven't talked about him for a while, it seems like there's been like a lot of like transactional movement. So I'm going to go into that. So we did talk about Donaldson joining the team. He hits a big home run today to put us in the lead. So I thought that was worth double tapping. So Josh Donaldson has been a pretty big ad since we got him. But now that I'm looking at his numbers, he's only hitting 136 for us, but two of those hits have been big home runs. We did send Weimer down to AAA on September 17th, which I thought was kind of crazy because I've been thinking that they should have been doing that a long time ago. And I think I'm the only one in that camp. I don't know. I haven't heard many people screaming for that, but like I said, I came around on his defense, but I was like, this guy does not seem like he's one of the starting three in our outfield where we need a bat at this time because defense isn't our weakness right now. But that happened. You looked like you had something to say. I didn't know if you wanted to roll in there at all, but
No, so I was just wondering kind of like how that, so he should be able to be called up. So maybe this is a rehab assignment to get him prepared for the playoffs.
I mean, that could be. I've been getting to watch, so I got to watch most of the game last night. And that's usually probably the best place to pick up what their idea is for what's going on, but I didn't quite catch that. If it was up to me, it wouldn't be this year. I would be like, man, it's not your year. You helped us out a lot defensively this year, and you had a pretty cool rookie season. I mean, it would be heartbreaking though. It's like, hey, man, we're about to make the playoffs, and you're not hacking it
Kick
for us.
rocks.
So,
Yeah, get the
but
fuck out.
it just seems like bad timing for him, especially because Sal came up. Frelick is hitting the shit out of the ball right now. In the last 7 games, he's hitting 375. And I want to say he raked in another 2 hits tonight. So we have him. Garrett Mitchell is finally off the injured list. He had a rehab assignment in Nashville. So if you looked at the AAA roster for last night's game, you would think you were looking at a major league roster. Like it had a lot. Jackson Chiro got called up to AAA. So our AAA outfield is like a gold glove outfield. I guess I don't know if Jackson Chiro is going to be a gold glover, but whatever. Like a really, really good AAA outfield. Blake Perkins comes off the IL, and I think that's where Weimer got optioned. So we brought Perkins back, and then we optioned Weimer to AAA. And then the last thing I have for the business stuff is Yelich is still day to day. It does look like he got in one game. I missed this one, and he had 3 at bats, and he went 1 for 3 in the no, he was over 3 with a walk. So that's what we got going on. But as a team over the last 7 games, hitting 252, 331 on base percentage, and just been hitting fairly well and winning some games. So tonight, like I said, Josh Donaldson hits that home run early. And then I got to talking to you for a second. And I want to say we had a 4-2 lead, and the Brewers tack on 4 more runs to make it 8-2 in the 9th. And Hauser gets the win in that game. I want to say he went like 6 1/3 to get that win. So good pitching performance there. But we still just do have dry spells with the bats here. So we lost 1 game to the Cardinals 1-0 with Peralta on the mound. So yeah, if we got the bats going, we can hang with anybody. Canna has been just an absolute monster since he's joined the team. He got his average up to 270, which I think I've already touched before. And when we got him, he was hitting 230. Starting pitching
Nice.
is still pitching well. Um, but yeah, it looks like the Brewers are getting hot at the right time. And then the Cubs are shitting the bed as we speak to give us a huge lead. I want to see what they're doing tonight to see if our magic number dropped from 6-4, and it did. So it dropped from the start of the day. The magic
Really to
number was
3 because wild card is at 3, right?
yeah 3 for the wild card, 4 for the division. So we're getting
Yeah. So
close.
I thought I saw that we had to get to 90 games, right, in order for sure to win it. Like to that's what there's no Cubs losses. If the Cubs won out, we had to get to about 90 or 91 wins.
Yep, and
That
that
was
makes sense.
probably earlier this week, but
Yep.
yeah, like we're gonna close that window here shortly, which is nice, and then you can kind of not worry about whether Yelich is in the lineup or not.
Yeah, and you can start setting up the pitching rotation to
Yep.
go into a 3-game series. But that is the only shitty part about that, which I also do kind of like because the top two teams just have such an advantage of having their pitching rotation set. And with baseball just being such a long season and a grind, I think if you're one of the top two teams in the NL or the AL, you should be able to have that advantage going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I think there should be some sort of advantage, and I don't know that like home field is enough of an advantage in baseball.
yeah, because yeah, anything can happen in baseball. I think I think I'm fully on board with how this system is going to go, though. Is so the Brewers will have like I was saying, a 3-game playoff against the Cubs, but all the games will be at home, which I kind of hope it's not the Cubs, just because the Cubs can invade Miller Park. And
Yeah,
now that would be such a shitty team to get knocked out against if
always.
it does happen. If we just have a great season, because say what you want about the Brewers this year, it's been a great season, very fun team
Yeah.
to watch. Do not want to get knocked out against the Cubs early, but then also it would feel so sweet to knock the Cubs out in
Yep.
in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, pick your poison. Um, I think I've learned uh, never cheer for who you're going to play next, because I've seen the Brewers get knocked out against the team that I wanted to win. I've seen the Packers get knocked out against the team
Yep.
that I thought was going to set us up better. So yeah,
Prime
that. Oh, sorry.
prime example for me on the Packers is the Giants game. I didn't think we had a chance that year to beat the Cowboys. Like I thought the Cowboys had our number. Giants come in and then fucking beat us in the championship game.
Yep, OT, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl with a great defensive line and a great defensive scheme.
Yep.
So that's what I got for the Brewers. Do you want to jump into the Packers here, and then we can? So we'll jump into the stands, do our Packers preview, and then we will jump around and do our Badgers preview. But I'll let you go first with the Packers stuff.
All right. So we're this week we have the Packers are hosting the Saints at Lambeau Field. Packers are -2 in that game. Over under is 42.5. So the predictive score would be probably 23-20 or 22-20, right? So somewhere right in there. Packers should win. I expect us to score 35, probably pretty easy. That being said, the Saints have beaten the Titans 16-15, and they beat the Panthers 20-17, which means they're holding teams under 3 scores every game. I mean, so those teams all scored 3 times, but they're holding
16.
them. like they're holding them under 21 points, which is pretty impressive. I think in the NFL, maybe like the last 2 years hasn't been as impressive. I shouldn't say the last 2 years. 2022 and early 2023, holding teams that low isn't like super impressive. It seems like offenses have been not as good lately. But that being said, their D is probably what the Saints are relying on. Right now, their running game is kind of diminished. Jamal Williams is out, and Alvin Kamara are both is out as well. Williams has an injury, and Kamara is out on a suspension until week 4. And then, so their main weapons offensively are Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and then I guess maybe we're going to consider Derek Carr a weapon. I don't like. I don't. So he's the what I would relate Derek Carr to is Andy Dalton. He's the same dude, and everybody thinks, "Oh, you're saying he's fucking terrible, right?" But Andy Dalton turned around what Cincinnati was, took him to the playoffs like 4 years in a row. I think Derek Carr is kind of that guy. He's just not terrible. He's not good, and he's not bad, right? He's not great, and he's not bad. He's just a guy that is probably the guy you want to draft a 20th round or not a 20th overall starting quarterback on, and then let him ride it out for 2 or 3 years, and then bring in your
Yeah,
guy.
he's definitely a bridge the gap guy. I think that's a good way to put it. Is you're not going to be too disappointed if you think you got something, but if you do
if he
have
leaves,
something,
you don't care. If he leaves, you don't care, right? Like so the Packers situation, everybody's mad because we had what we consider to be the best talented quarterback ever. I mean, so let's put him in the top 5 quarterback talents of all time, right? I think that that's pretty easy to say. Not like greatest performers all the time, but when it comes to actual talent, like Aaron Rodgers is theirs, and he's probably got 3 or 4 more years left in him where he can still play at that level. Whether he does or not, who knows? You don't. That's not the guy you want to draft somebody behind and let them sit there for 3 years. I get that it's very valuable. I think it was valuable for Aaron Rodgers, and right. So I think it was valuable for Jordan Love to see a guy perform at that level. But if you had a guy sit behind Derek Carr for 3 years, I think that would still be valuable. Maybe not as valuable, but valuable. And then all your fan base doesn't care when you boot Carr to the curb and you get this new guy that's fucking awesome. That's probably the ideal way for the Packers to do it, is to find this mediocre guy for 3 years. But I don't know that that's possible either, right? So Derek Carr got paid kind of a lot of money when he left Oakland.
Yeah, no, I don't get the Derek Carr experiment, especially if you don't have a guy behind him, because it's Jameis Winston who is behind him. So
Currently,
you have 2 guys who are kind of
similar, right? They're the same dude. Like, why go pay more for this? Basically, the same guy.
Yeah, and then they got a really good defense in a really crappy division. I'm starting to see why
that might not be that crappy of a division.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Right? So Buccaneers are 2-0. Atlanta's 2-0, Buccaneers are 2-0, Saints are 2-0.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it seems like they do need a pick. Or whatever. They need to get lucky and fall into a quarterback some way, shape, or form, which I do kind of find odd that didn't seem like such a landing spot for, like, one of the guys. I guess though, because the Packers weren't going to trade Aaron Rodgers to the NFC more than likely. And so, yeah, I guess so. But they're quarterback away from having a super, super good team, especially with Kamara not being suspended. So I think it's only a 3-week suspension. So we got pretty lucky.
Correct.
We got the last week of that suspension there. And then if Jamal Williams is healthy, that might have something to do with it. Yeah, their run game has not been that spectacular this year to this point. their leading rusher right now is Taysom Hill with 79 yards. So yeah, it's gonna be the Packers secondary
I think
that
he
I
had
think
none the first or this second week. He had no
no,
fantasy points.
I think it was the first week because I started him in fantasy at tight end, and I don't think he got me any points. So
In week
that,
one?
or maybe he did get me 7 points. I don't think so though. Maybe.
So I thought I looked this week and he had no points in week 2.
Yeah, no, I was pretty excited to see that I got to play him at tight end. So I was like, well, Kelsey's hurt week 1, so I'll try to do it. I'm pulling it up right here. So oh, he threw the ball once. Okay, here's rushing. So he had 9 carries for 75 yards in last week against Carolina. And he had 3 carries for 4 yards in week 1. So,
I screwed it up for somebody's fantasy team. They're going to be so pissed.
oh yeah, yep. You shit the bed there. They probably lost that game by a point too. So,
No, they don't play games. It's not like that, but they'll be mad. They scored probably 13 points on the whole week, but they'll send me the slip back to get it corrected.
yeah. But I guess though, if we're gonna be talking about him, that's always the switchblade in New Orleans that I always find it super fun to watch Taysom Hill play some football. And there's
He's a
always
former
just that.
Packer, so it's okay to be okay with him.
Yeah, but it's just like a wild card guy uh coming out of there. Um yeah, and that defense looks like it is pretty damn good. So like you said, they're only giving up 16 points a game on average. Uh
It's only 2 games, so let's not get too bent out of shape.
yeah, and it's two opponents that you know, you're not going to say like are going to blow the doors off anybody in the Titans and Carolina. They're
Right.
in my opinion both solid teams. I don't think I picked Carolina to win the division, so
I
I
don't
don't
think the Panthers' offense is good, but I
no.
think their defense is okay. I
Yeah,
think the
and
Panthers are better than I expected them to be for sure, and I think it comes down to their defense.
yeah. But yeah, and then just the other stats, turnover ratio, they're +1 in the turnover ratio. Um, time of possession looks like they're usually right in the middle, 30, 30 minutes and 45 seconds. So it's not like they're holding on to the ball too long. Um, which I mean, if they could do that with the defense, they'd be better. But I think this is going to be their first real test uh, going up against the Pack. Yeah, I guess no, the Titans. I would be yeah, I would be a little cocky to say that the Packers were the first test that they're going to face because they did beat the Titans, both tight games. I think this is going to be another tight game, but do you got what you think is going to go on this game?
Uh, so I don't for me, it all comes down to whether Aaron Jones is going to play or not, right? And so I think that is iffy. Um, with that being said, if Aaron Jones plays, I think we probably he is going to be our leading yard getter out of the pass game, and probably our leading rusher as well. And so we'll lean on him. And as long as we're able to do that, I would imagine that Jordan Love continues his success. If we're going to go in there without Watson and without Bakhtiari and without Jones and without Jenkins again, I think he's going to have a little bit harder time. Um, that's a lot of holes to fill, especially when it's important pieces of your offense, right? So um, eroding your offensive line is difficult, and if a team actually prepares for that offensive line to be hurt and they have a good defense and a really good pass rush, that could get scary real quick. I do think we have good backups, Zach Tom and uh, Josh Neiman, and there's guys on our offensive line that I feel comfortable dump it in there. However, it's not ideal, right? So I'd like both guys on the offensive line to play. I don't know if Jenkins even has a chance to play. Not positive about that. I would assume that this is a turf field too, being in the
No,
Superdome, right?
it's in Green Bay. It's Lambeau
Ah,
home opener.
I said that earlier too. I should know that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I
Uh,
wrote it. I wrote it backwards on the because I said Packers -2 versus Saints instead of putting Saints +2
right.
at the Packers. So
So
faked out.
I think that Jordan Love and the offense continue to roll, and I think that Alexander is going to have a better week than he did last week, and our defense is going to look better. I don't know that I've seen a lot of people that are hating on Joe Barry. I hated on Joe Barry on the Sunday podcast a little bit that like I didn't understand what he was doing, but maybe that like he got caught in a bad defensive situation and there was no other option. Um, but if we're going to be honest about things, Bijan Robinson made players look silly, not defensive schemes. Like there was a guy in his face and he made a cut, and then there was another guy in his face and he made a cut on the same play. Like that's huge, right? That if guys are in the place to make the play and they're not making the play, that's on players, not on scheme, right? Quay Walker had a interception in his hands. He drops that. Alexander had an interception in his hands. He drops that. So, like, if you make those two plays and then you make 3 or 4 tackles where Robinson is like caught in the backfield and then falls forward for 4 or 5 yards, maybe that's the difference. And those are players' plays, not scheme plays. Like, I don't think our scheme got lit up that bad. And so maybe Joe Barry isn't all at fault here. Maybe we have some players that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So I
No,
think our defense steps up here because they know that I think that players, when they fail, they know they've failed. Like I think Alexander, I don't think you saw him talking a whole bunch of shit last week because he didn't perform as well as he normally does.
yeah, no, I like that kind of spreading the blame out, not just being hammering Joe Barry. And I think so. I went back and watched the game, and yeah, the 2 drop picks. I think it was 3 though. You're right, and I think Savage was the one that
Okay.
dropped the third pick there. So 3 missed opportunities. Came up with one of those interceptions. Yeah, I mean, if you pick the ball off 4 times in a game, you're more than likely going to win.
Even if you get it 2 times, like that stops another drive, gives you another opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did see like a crazy stat that Green Bay is the number one converting touchdowns in the red zone right now. I
Yeah.
want to say they're like 5 of 6. It was like
Yeah.
83% or something like
That's what I
that.
thought I saw too. Yeah.
So so yeah, give Love and the offense a chance in the red zone. I like what LaFleur can do down there. I don't like what he was doing down there with Aaron Rodgers, but I do think with Jordan Love, uh, it's more of we're going to run my scheme where I think Rodgers was uncomfortable with some things and like wanted and needed the ball in his hands, which rightfully so, MVP. But I think we can get a little bit more
Well,
weird
I
with it,
mean,
I guess, down there
so
and a little
yeah,
more tricky.
Rogers at one point did say like a monkey could run, or an ape or a monkey, something like that, could run most of today's like offenses. Like the quarterback doesn't have to be this like ridiculously skilled player. Probably that he did need to have when he came in, right? So now you probably just need to be able to make decisions quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you can accept the fact that it's not just going to be our guy beating yours, it's going to be some scheme in there. Where I want to say
Yep.
with like Rodgers, it was like we were good when we had Devontae Adams because our guy could beat their guy every time. But last year, I want to say even with Devontae Adams, it seemed like that's all we looked for down there, which was kind of hamstringing us. And then
Well,
last year, it just did not feel good down there.
right. And so, I mean, honestly, if you're looking at even the 2000 like 10 through 2014 Packers, we had so many dudes at the wide receiver positions, right? That like everybody could beat everybody. Like each year was just a different dude that stepped up, or each game you'd have James Jones go for, 130 and 2 touchdowns. And the next week it'd be Randall Cobb or Greg Jennings or Jordy Nelson or Donald Driver would be in there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have any more on the Packers game? You want to make a prediction? See who's closer?
Yeah, so I'm going to go Packers get 28 with the Saints getting 24. 28-24 Packers.
So you are going with the Packers and the over. I'm going to say
Yep.
this one's going to be ugly. I say the Packers win this one 20-13. So I'm going to go with the under and the
And the
Packers.
defense stepping up. I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just don't have much faith in Derek Carr. I've just seen him be shitty so many times. I think the Packers defense is good. I think the Saints defense is really good. I think we got two A defenses going head to head, and I think it's going to be a defensive battle there with Love. Man, looking at the tape, I guess that's one thing I want to touch this year. Like I really think Love is the dude. Like I think he's going to be really, really good. I'm getting sold on it maybe a little too early, but I can't understate how much I love Love.
Yeah, so I see some things that like I don't like, but I'm not a keen enough eye for sure to like say he's bad.
Yeah.
I feel like he misses more throws, but maybe I'm just used to Aaron Rodgers and I'm like, you got to hit that fucking throw when like nobody does. And I looking at his completion percentage and I'm like, well, 13 for 25 is not fucking good. Like you got to be tighter than that. And maybe you don't, right?
And maybe it comes with time because
Yeah.
I do think it's the hey, if it's not there, just get rid of it mentality instead of hey, like your experience, I'm gonna trust you a little bit more. Do what you need to do with the ball. It would be interesting to go look at Rogers' first year of starting and like what his completion percentages and stuff. I mean, his could be absolutely great. And I think they're one of the better ones you'd see from a first year starter, but it's
Yeah.
also,
I don't know. They weren't good. They were like 2-10 or something like that and won the last four.
yeah. So, so yeah, we will
I
see
mean,
how
so
that
like
one
his
goes.
record wasn't good. So I would imagine that he wasn't like awesome, awesome. Not that he was bad, but like he probably
Yeah.
had his struggles in there.
There was definitely something to it though, because I remember thinking, like I'm thinking right now, is I I think I think the Packers front offense did something right to keep us relevant for a good bit of time still.
Do you consider Favre to be like a guy who sat for time and then ended up with a starting role?
I think so because
I mean, he had a year for sure in Atlanta where he didn't play.
yeah, and I don't know who he would have sat behind in Atlanta. I don't got
Jeff
that
George,
pull.
maybe.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, that's a good call, but yeah, I have no clue. Like I don't fact check you on this one, so we'll just trust you. But yeah, then he came to back up Don the Magic Man, and it's not like we brought him in to start right away. I
Well,
think
he
they
sat for like I want to say like 15, 16 weeks, and he came in the last couple weeks of the season.
yeah, and that's before my memories of the Packers, but yeah, I think so. Like I think he was more of a project than hey, we're gonna bring Favre in. He's gonna start right away. Like
Yeah. Okay.
it, and I don't think. I mean, I think he would have eventually got the Packers starting job, and he ended up getting pushed into it faster with the Magic Man going down. But
Right.
um, but yeah, the rest was history. But yeah, I do think he was sit him on the bench 2 years, and then we'll see how he does in his third or fourth year.
So that's the system, and if Love pans out, that system should be spread through the NFL pretty quickly.
I mean, we'll see. I
I
guess.
don't think it
Well,
will. So I think people think like guys are special. I think they believe they have Joe Burrow, and even Joe Burrow, like his first year and a half wasn't great, right?
yeah, and the growing pains of like Trevor Lawrence. Like I think he would have probably benefited from not having to go in and get his ass whooped for a full
Yeah,
year before Doug Peterson came in. But I do think also the Packers have always been doing so damn good that both Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love slipped late in the draft, and some scout was on it. Like,
yeah,
yeah, these
yeah,
guys need to come off the board. Like, if Love was already off the board in that draft, and all the other top quarterbacks were, I don't know if the Packers are going with a receiver there. It does seem like one of those moves that's like, hey, this guy's here, and I think he's next. So
I think that's for sure. Like what happened with
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Oh hell yeah.
That it
Yeah.
was like, how did we end up with this guy falling to us at what was it 24?
Yeah, something like that.
And like they were like, it would almost be stupid not to take him here, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been right, but it was
Oh
stupid
yeah.
for the Niners not to take him at one.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. You ready to jump around?
Jump around, jump around, get up, get down.
Like it. So the Badgers pre-game. So Badgers are -5.5 at West Lafayette in Purdue. Yeah, that's the right city. So
Purdue
yeah,
in
at
West Lafayette.
Purdue in West Lafayette. Over under in this game is at 53.5. Let's go to the scouting report here real quick, Mike. So Purdue is 1-2 on this season with a loss to Fresno. So this was at home. They lost to Fresno 39-35. Then their win came at Virginia Tech. They beat Virginia Tech 24-17. Who Virginia Tech is 1-2 on the season. Doesn't look like anything special. And then they lost at home to Syracuse 35-20. And I'll mention the record. So Fresno's 3-0. Doesn't look like they played anybody crazy. Syracuse definitely has played a shitty schedule, and they're 3-0 on the season. I just like to see where the opponents are in college football, just because it's such like
Yep.
a wide scheme of things. So it looks like Fresno and Syracuse are solid teams, but not great teams. And Purdue being 1-2 on the season, already losing 2 home games, they're not a good team. So if we go over to the offense, they throw the ball for 275 yards per game, run it for 122 yards per game, and then they score 26.3 points per game. While defensively, shit, I lost my place on my page here.
So D,
Defensively, they give up 276 yards a game, run for or give up 132 rushing yards per game, and they give up 30.3 points per game. Uh Looking at their quarterback though, he is a junior. Hudson Card is the dude's name, and he actually doesn't have that bad of numbers. I did want to go and look at the tape, and my version of tape is YouTube clip, so it's not like
yeah, I
I'm
think that's everybody's version of tape for the most part. I mean, honestly,
yeah, I think some people probably go into the all 22 on this stuff, but I didn't quite have the time to do that. So I just looked at his numbers. So he's throwing the ball for 825 yards this year, 65.5 completion percentage, and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And his quarterback rating is 135.6. I know that's not the same as the NFL quarterback rating, but it does. He's only been sacked 4 times in 3 games. So it seems like their offensive line keeps him pretty clean. They're definitely a team that likes to pass the ball a little bit more than they run the ball. And they do have two decent wide receivers in Burks and Yeason. So they have some weapons. Uh, as for running backs, Maccabee is kind of their workhorse. He has 50 carries to the next closest, who is the quarterback, Card with 26. But they just don't run the ball too effectively, or they haven't ran the ball very effectively. To this point in the season, they average 3.4 yards per carry. So another game that we're going into where the team's strengths are at where all of our weaknesses are, if that makes sense. It's just another team that likes to throw the ball a little bit more. Where our run defense seems to have been pretty good so far this year, and then our secondary just has holes in it. This quarterback does look to protect the ball a little bit better than our boy Davis Brin or whatever it was for Georgia Southern. That was just
something, Bryn, for sure.
Yeah, just throwing picks left and right. But yeah, it's a game that the Badgers definitely should go in and win if they're anything close to what we thought they were going to be. And I guess I'll get into what I hope the Badgers are going to be doing in this game, because we talked about a little bit on the last week's recap, or the recap earlier this week that we did on Sunday night, is I think we just need to get out the gate running more effectively early. And we definitely need to give our workhorses the ball a little bit more. Someone, gosh, now Braylon Allen or Malusi needs to have 20 carries in this game. And
Yep.
I think we need to get them the ball earlier. And I'm hoping with the Big Ten schedule starting that they're going to see that. They're not going to try to play around with these teams, fuck around, lose to Washington State or
Purdue
have,
or Illinois or
have Georgia Southern winning in the third quarter. So I think we need to try to step on a throat early in this one. And then if we have them pinned down, let's try that. I mean, obviously you want to use the new scheme to get there, but let's get wild if we get a good lead. Like, let's just keep the starters in a row. It's funny because so we've been posting stuff on Facebook for like over a year, and now I start to get memories from a year ago. And I listened to our episode a year ago today, and it was coming off a loss to Washington State. And basically I had the same exact it was like the same exact episode as our episode last Wednesday.
Sunday.
It was like last Wednesday, because it was like the scouting report, and I was talking about that Cameron Ward and what was going on. And yeah, we've repeated ourselves now. But yeah, I think this will be a fun test for the Badgers, going on the road, playing a semi-formidable opponent. And yeah, we'll definitely see who they really are this week. If you lose to Purdue, I would expect it's like Groundhog's Day. Like if we see our shadow, maybe we can expect a bad winter or something. But if we whoop the shit out of them, I'll stay optimistic. But I think that's how I'm going to be with like every one of these shitty opponents rolling into Iowa.
Yeah, but so like we're gonna face a team like Illinois who
they're good too.
Put the screws to us before we get to Iowa, right?
Oh yeah. Illinois is going to be a big game, and then they got our boy Jim. Oh no, but
just as a consultant, he's not like a coach yet.
Oh really?
I'm pretty sure he's just like a football consultant down there.
Okay, but anyways, we play Iowa before we go to Illinois. So Iowa's before them. So we got Purdue, Rutgers, and then we get into Iowa, Illinois, Ohio State. So a good 3-game run there. So these are still our test opponents. So we need to figure it out in the next 2 weeks at Purdue and then home versus Rutgers. That's what I got. That's what I got, Mike.
Yeah. So, what's your prediction here?
So I'm gonna say the Badgers are gonna win this game, and I'm gonna say they're gonna win it big. And I'm gonna go with a 35 to I want to give them 26, 35-26.
Okay. So you scoop mine on the Badger score. I want 35-20 on this.
Okay, 35-20. So you're going with the Badgers and the under. I am going with the
Badgers in the over. So the over under is 53.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we both went Badgers and over on this one. But Mike, I think it's getting time, and it's about time to pay the piper. So we're gonna roll into our 6-pack in a pound picks of the week, brought to you by Taco John's, Sun Drop, and Coney Island. We got 3 sponsors on this thing. So last week, Mike goes 1-5-1 with his picks, losing 500 bing bongs, making him negative 700 bing bongs on the season. And I go 2-4-1, losing 400. So we both had a shitty week. Mike just had the shittier week. And I don't know why this is a punishment, but Mike gets to shotgun a nice, tasty sun drop for all of you out there. It sounds like you hit it clean. I was reading stuff, so I didn't get to see it, and I don't think the camera caught it either. So you had it too low for the camera, but you ready to rock?
That's all right. I don't need to like fuck it up and then the camera see it. So I am ready to rock.
And he is off to the races. Last week, he got it down in less than a minute. It looks like he's going to get it down to less than a minute again. Mike is crushing that sun drop, sucking it like he knows how to suck something. And if you know, you know. Ooh. You look better this time, man. You are getting good.
So I've been using my car key, right? And I realized like my house keys are probably actually sharper. Like car key is like a square blunt. I'm sure you have like almost the exact same car key.
Right? Yep, I do. We have the same.
So it's car. It's like a flat end. That thing sucks for putting a hole in the thing.
Yeah, you definitely gotta use some muscle if you're gonna be using that one. But nice work again. I am very impressed with your shotgunning of soda ability. We did throw another wrinkle in this challenge that I think Mike accepted off camera. Week 1 doesn't count. Week 1 doesn't count because this challenge wasn't on the table. But if you lose 3 weeks in a row, you have to do a show with your shirt off.
See, now that I've lost, week 1 doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah. So you're just.
I better start working out again. Fuck.
You're just down 1. So you got to do it with your shirt off and a backwards hat.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I don't care about the backwards hat.
Yeah, we got to do something douchey. So,
you want me to get some chains?
Yeah,
I don't know where I get them at, but
I got a chain, so I could, if I lose, I could do the ultimate douche mode, shirt off, backwards hat, roll into this, but yeah, that's about as much as we'll go into our last week's picks. Other than there's one that I really wanted to touch, and I want to get your opinion on this. And I have to look at exactly what happened.
Are we talking about the Rams game?
Yeah, wasn't that insane at the end of the Rams game that they kicked it just to cover? Like someone had to have had something. Like, why wouldn't you go for a touchdown there? If you're gonna.
They said that they could have snapped the ball at like 20 seconds and then had an opportunity at like an onside kick and then a Hail Mary, right? So you have the opportunities and Stafford has the arm, I assume, as long as his neck thing isn't fucked up, to throw a Hail Mary pretty effectively. And even if he doesn't, their backups probably can get close, right? Like they might not have rocket arms, but like if you put it up in the air, they could probably all throw 50 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
Yeah. You just answered that question. That's knocked out of the park, Mike. That's an A+ answer to that question. So Yeah, I was watching it on Red Zone, and I was like, there's got to be so many happy and sad motherfuckers for that backdoor cover to cover it like it did. But
Now,
I thought it was pretty interesting that they did that. But like I said, that was a good explanation on your part. So yeah, I accept that answer if that was the case. I don't remember exactly how much time was left in the game.
4 seconds. They kicked the ball with 4 seconds, which is an automatic runoff to end the game.
Wait, so then they milked the clock and they did it?
They milked the clock down to 4 seconds and then kicked it. And it's an automatic runoff from 4 seconds.
Jeez.
He
So
might have
yeah,
called. So there's a real possibility that he might have even called a timeout for it.
damn. Yeah, that is
And so
pretty
now,
suspicious right there.
well, hold on a second. So as Packer fans that are always going to take the Packers, no matter what. Speaking of this, I might want to create a new rule in our 6-pack and a pound, but that's not the point. Maybe not. I don't care about this. We're not going to create the rule. Anyway, if you're a Packer fan, like we are, and we always bet on the Packers, do
Yes,
you
we do.
care would you want Matt LaFleur to cover that game if we were the dogs in that game?
I think I would appreciate it. Yeah.
So as fans, that's what we want. But
Yeah.
like we're mad because someone else does it.
I'm not mad about it. I just
No,
think
no, no. I'm not mad
it's
about it. It is weird, right? I'm not
yeah.
mad about it either. But like, I know a lot of people are because they lost money,
Yeah.
right? But if that's your team that you always bet on, like, if you're not a gambler and you're a fan and you just like put money on the Packers every week to like up the ante of what it is, don't you want Matt LaFleur to kick that field goal at the end to cover the game?
I do. But yeah, I'm looking so at this last drive. So yeah, they have first and 10 with 49 seconds left in the game from San Francisco's 45. So that's going to be what, like a 58-yard field goal. So that seems pretty reasonable not to kick it quite yet. Third and 2 from the 37. That's probably when they should have kicked it, but then there's only 19 seconds left in the game. But anyways, completed. It looks like Stafford clocked the ball, so he spiked it with 4 seconds left in the game, and then they kicked
Okay.
the. So yeah, I don't know if that confirms or denies any
So,
suspicions in that one, but
but at 19 seconds, so you get down to 15 seconds. The onside kick it. You have 10 seconds left. That might be two plays. I don't. Maybe if you don't have a timeout, it's not two plays, right? So it's one play. You go for the Hail Mary. Could get you in that game, right? So who completed a Hail Mary this week? The Broncos did.
oh yeah,
Like it
that
happened
was
this
pretty
fucking
sweet.
week.
Yeah, yeah.
Hail Mary, and then they lost. So like,
All right. Well, let's. What? Wait. What was your new rule? Sorry, I was zoning out on
I
my.
was going to say that we can't take the Packers in the 6-pack and a pound because we always take the Packers.
Okay, I like that. But can we implement
But
that next week? Because I already picked the Packers this week.
yeah, that's no big deal. I don't even know if I think that we should do that because if we want to hit that as our double dog or as our pounded, I think that we should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, let's not do it. Let's keep the
Yeah, I
Packers
think.
alive.
Yeah. So I just had a weird thought, and like we don't need to do any of that. So let's roll into games. I'm gonna bust mine out here first.
You got to do it in less than a minute so I can clip it easy.
All right. So we got the Giants at the 49ers. The 49ers are -10. I'm taking the Giants +10 in this one. I think they turned the corner after that first game. All right. Next one up is Broncos at Dolphins. Dolphins are -6.5. I'm taking the Dolphins -6.5 in this one. Just dominant team in Miami. I think that's a recipe for a win. Panthers at Seahawks. Seahawks are -6. I'm taking the Panthers +6 in this one. Titans at Browns. Browns are -3.5. Titans. I'm taking the Titans +3.5 as my double dog. Going to win it outright. Not sure why I'm doing that. I think that's a trap game, but moving on. Bears at Chiefs. Chiefs are -12.5. I'm taking the Bears at +12.5 here. Chiefs never cover, and now they will. So go ahead with that one. As you can see, I don't know what I'm doing. Cowboys at Cardinals are plus 12 and a half. Cardinals are plus 12 and a half. I'm taking the Cowboys minus 12 and a half. They've had the easiest roads here and out. Their defense is dominant. Keep it rolling. Colts at Ravens minus 7.5. I'm taking the Ravens minus 7.5. You can pound it.
Pound it. I think you got that done in less than a minute, Mike.
I don't think I did. I felt like it was long, but
It's
we'll see.
tough. I
That
like though. I like seeing you work for that though. Like you're
I I
gunning
was
through it.
I was attempting and to do like explain a little bit what I was doing, but I don't know.
No,
We'll
that
see.
that will be good enough. That will be good enough for the clip. All right. So when I hear your games, it makes me want to change some of my games. My favorite games on your docket. I really like that Panthers +6, and I don't know why it's not in mine. And then I think I also like your Dolphins -6.5. So I think I like that. My eyes like what I'm seeing on your side. So I think you might have the winner this week. But you
Yeah,
re-
we shall see.
you ready to hear my picks in less than a minute?
Yep.
Falcons at Lions. Lions are -3. I'm going to take the Lions -3 because I think the Falcons have overperformed and the Lions have slightly underperformed. Saints at Packers. Packers -2. If you don't know who I'm picking in this game, you're an idiot. Packers -2. Too easy. Chargers at Vikings. I got it at a pick 'em. I'm going to take the Chargers because the Vikings suck ass. Then I have the Bills -6.5 at the Commanders. Take the Commanders +6.5 because they're actually kind of solid this year. And I don't know what's going on with the Bills right now. So next game I have Texans at Jags. Jags are -9.5. This line jumped off to me as a trap. I'm going to take the Jags -9.5 because I think it just seems like too many points. My craziest pick of the week, I had the Cowboys -12. Mike had them -12.5. Doesn't matter. Take the Cardinals as your double dog because the Cardinals always play the Cowboys tough when they're shitty. And yeah, it just brings me back to the Jake Plummer days at the Cardinals. Jake the Snake is coming back out and he's going to bite the Cowboys in the ass. And then my pounded game of the week, Steelers Steelers at Raiders. Raiders are -2. Take those Steelers +2.5 and you better pound it. That's it. That's all I got.
Very good. That Cardinals one is wild, man. That's a wild pick to be. It doesn't matter 12 and a half. That line does not matter if it's over 10 and you're taking the dog to win outright.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy. I like it. See, and you always want these fucking double dogs to be like super dogs in order to win it.
Yeah, man. I want it with cheese, onions, and mustard, baby.
I
Let's
think I hit
get
like
it.
5 double dogs in a row to start this thing because like when we were first doing it and you were like, you're cheating. You're only taking like, I would have taken like the Packers this week, right? Or the Chargers or the Vikings to get it.
Yeah, whatever way
Right.
that
That's what I
swings
would
at.
have. Yeah. I would have taken that one and won, and you'd been like, no, that isn't like, that's not good enough. And it
No,
don't matter.
it was always good enough. I was actually impressed with it. I was just bitching because I was losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
how it
got you.
goes. But now that I have just a slight bit of a lead, I'll throw some respect in your I'll put some respect on your name. You were pretty good at picking those double dogs out. But
That year,
there
not
is
now.
something weird. It is in Phoenix, and I want to see if my brain is tricking me because there's some reason Cowboys versus the Cardinals is always a good game to me. It like almost seems like a rivalry to me, and I think it
It
was
used to
just
be.
like yeah, like I think it
They
was
used to be
just
in the same division.
okay. That
So
that
when it
makes
was,
sense.
when it was the NFC Central, when Tampa Bay was in it, theirs had the Arizona in it.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't know.
that makes more
Yeah,
sense.
it must have been them and then Arizona. So it must have been the Commandos, the Giants, Dallas, Philly, and Arizona.
Okay, yeah, because I just remember the Cardinals beating the Cowboys like a couple times when you're like, it was back when the Cowboys were good, and the Cardinals were shit,
Shit. Yeah.
and like, and they would end up winning these games with Jake Plummer having like a hell of a game or something. But
You're right.
But that's all I got for picks. I didn't come up with the random segment.
So I think
Lulu-
our random segment was kind of Bakhtiari and missing this game.
yeah,
We just did
yeah,
it right at the beginning because we got into your hangnail being
yeah,
such an issue. So
yeah. It feels better now though, so I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna be
maybe sit
sold.
practice out tomorrow, and then you can get back into practice on Friday. So
Yeah, I think I will be ready for the game. I think I'll be ready for the game on Sunday. So, boys, I'll be watching that. Badgers play at 7 o'clock. Packers play. When do they
Noon.
play? Noon.
Noon.
So we
So that's
it,
what 1 o'clock your time?
yeah, and that must mean the Badgers is 6 o'clock your time. So pretty nice schedule for the weekend. Go out there, enjoy that weekend. If you listen this long, please remember to like, subscribe, download, share. We appreciate the support. We love you. And Mike, what do you got for them?
All right. All you suckers that are doubting the Packers, the Badgers, the Bucks, or the Brewers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't need my shows. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shows. Beat 'em. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shows. Eat my shows.